Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to the Silent Age. We're gonna wrap up today almost certainly. We've got to go stop either Frank or some other time traveler from to, getting infected and coming back to the present, which also probably means we need to not come to the present, and I bet it's gonna take control away from me. Also, my little pet theory that he's dyslexic has me thinking maybe he ended up in the completely wrong place because he did tell the numbers all wrong. Maybe. I can't be certain of that. We'll see if this proves to be true or not. Uh, would have been quite a twist if that actually is it. Sadly, no real comparison to the Broken Age. I think the Silent Age is a better name for this game than Broken Age was for Broken Age because it kind of makes sense. The future is the Silent Age. Nobody's making noise because everybody's dead. That makes sense. Broken Age really didn't make a lot of sense. So, Act 10 will also do the credits because why would I make a separate episode of the credits? What a mess. Having narrowly avoided an encounter with his other self, Joe finds that the time machine is gone. With Dr. Lambert's help, Joe put in pursuit of the time pilot, but where and when is this place? So, the other things we haven't seen yet. We haven't seen a tinfoil hat, and we haven't seen whatever device was wedged between the door to get into the room. So we know something else happens. At least we think something else happens. Is this going to be a paradox that cannot be broken, or can we change the future and save humanity? Let's start and see. How straightforward, somewhere in the distant future. How straightforward is this solution going to be compared to all the other acts? How simple is it going to be?
What happened?
How long have I been out? The last thing I remember is using a time machine. It usually makes me a little lightheaded, but never anything like this. So maybe, oh no, my time machine, it's completely broken. Well, that solves you can never come back as a problem. Here's a portable time machine, let's take it. No. It's blown to bits. So one would assume that we may be even further in the distant future. Seems like there's either flecks of animals or dust flying around. This time machine looks pretty banged up. My own time machine's busted, so I guess this is my only ticket out. All I have to do is press the button. Well, I can't ever use it. Console. Terminal is sunk halfway into the ground. I don't think that would just happen. If the ground's sinking that bad, I think everything would sink. The cement in the floor would sink a lot faster than anything else. It's like a portable generator. And notice the computers are totally missing now. Darkness. Can't reach it, can't find any switch. We're not going back to the past, so maybe we just turn on the generator. Looks like a power generator. Doesn't seem like it's just going to turn on. I'm flipping the switch, but it's not coming on. All this water probably would electrocute me. Probably a really dumb idea to turn it on anyways. Maybe it's out of fuel. No, there's no tank on it. Dripping water. It's cold. We've got to find who the time guy is and stop him from going back. First thing. Yeah, so we are in the distant future. More than 40 years by far to see this half-buried door. There's a lot of dirt and rubble in the way. I can't get in. I need to get this stuff out of the way. Alright, let's look in the window. I can't see through this. Okay. And then here's the elevator shaft, and the rest of the building is just completely broken. That seems a little too convenient that this one part of the basement is left so untouched, and then the rest of it is totally here. Notice here's another time machine. And another. How many times did they go to the same location? Why would you even do that? Hmm. Wow, is this another time machine? It looks totally different, besides the fact that it's completely falling apart. I mean, it must have been here for quite a while. Hmm. So, it seems like people keep coming. Dusty metallic surface. Well, I don't know what this is. It looks like some kind of impractical kitchen table. It says Berman Solar on it. Ah, it's a solar cell. Which doesn't make sense. Doesn't feel like they would have had solar cells in 1960s time frame. Got a generator here. I can't seem to figure out how this works. You or me either. Take the shovel. Now we have a weapon. It's rusty, but it will do. Interesting, can't do anything with the cross or the grave. And then here's just some thick roots blocking this direction. Twice we've had to deal with thick roots. I'm not unhappy with my waistline, but there's no way squeezing through. Twice he used that same joke, too. There's nowhere near sharp enough. I'd be here for a week. You know, I like that new TV series of 12 Monkeys, and I think you could make a decent video game based on that story. Something simple like that. This kind of feels like that, but on the most simplistic of levels. Uh, we're not dealing with super heavy concepts of paradoxes here. We're gonna have like one reveal at the end that's somewhat paradoxical, and that's it. There, it's all clear. We're back to having nothing in our inventory. Let's go in here and see what's going on. So, rock. It's a block of concrete. The surface is slightly rough to touch. I'm trying to get a rock as a weapon before I get the first aid kit. There's a piece of cloth and the first aid kit's been picked clean. We'll get the cloth. Let's go use the rock. Part of a wall or something. The whole place seems to be coming apart. How about this? Who's got to look good for? I was trying to maybe clean the window. What a mess. Is perfectly good rag. I already know what's outside. Gas mask, person in hazmat suit. Let's talk to the person. He's wearing the same suit I saw in those photos on the wall back in the lab. And here's the cryotubes. Okay. Skull. You'd think I'd used to seeing dead people by now, but this one's really got me for some reason. So, this must be one of the time pods Dr. Lambert told me about. The ones that never made it back. He's wearing the same suit in the photos. So we took off the mask, but we didn't do anything. Didn't keep the mask. He's got nose left to blow, so don't use the cloth on there. Let's look at the cryotube. I think it's one of the cryotubes, but this place looks hundreds of years old. Maybe more. What year did I end up in? Cloth with cryotube. Any opportunity to clean this thing is already passed. And we don't recognize him by his skull, of course. Who would? And we can't get his hazmat suit. And then there's a rock here. Oh, let's go clean the solar cell and get some power. Silly. I was genuinely not realizing what I was supposed to do with the cloth. Like, I knew I'd figure it out pretty fast, but I hadn't quite put two and two together yet. So we assume that not making much of a difference, it's still really dirty. We need to go get some water. So we assume one of the time pilots buried the other, and then just died there. Far, far in the future. What's interesting, you could think, is that this may be a paradox of a virus, too. Any virus that was brought back to the past and killed everybody would then also have, like, time to evolve. And viruses like influenza evolve every year. That's why you have to get new immunizations. In fact, they're scarily good at evolving. And only the most common, statistically determined to be the most common versions of influenza are actually in the immunization shots, the flu shots. I don't know if you could really call them immunizations. They are immunizations for that one strand, and only those one strands, or how many other strands are in a shot. So, like, it isn't at all unreasonable that something like an influenza from 400 years in the future, or even 40 years in the future, being brought back would have just doubled the amount of time it had randomly mutated and potentially evolved. Now, how much it could evolve outside of humans carrying it is debatable. It doesn't even seem like there's other animals. Influenza does have a good transfer rate between dogs, cats, birds, I believe, and so without any of those things around, which I haven't seen any of those things, influenza would probably die out in the host. It can't really live by its own. So I wouldn't immediately assume this is some future virus that's based off influenza. Anyways, I learned a decent amount when playing a game called Plague Inc., and that's how I know so much. Or at least I'm seeming like I know so much. I really don't know that much. It's just... I'm no doctor, so take me with the thing. Notice he's no longer rubbing his hair, he just coughed. No real reason to have come back in here, actually. Here we go. And electrocute myself? What is that in the wall? Well, that's a person stuck in the wall. How could the time pilot be stuck in the wall but not the sphere? That's interesting. A little creepy surprise. It's not very bright, but at least I can see what I'm doing. Let's see who this is. What on earth? How is that even possible? Wait, there's something sticking out of his backpack. Looks like a rusty machete. Anything else? This is without the doubt the most horrifying thing I've ever seen. He's dead, but how did he get stuck in the wall like that? What is this? This is a nightmare. I have to get out of here. Wherever here is. This is... So, if you had the portable device, it would make sense. Like, he got stuck in the wall, somebody took the portable device, brought it back to the past. But If he came in one of the spheres, that doesn't compute. Unless the spheres don't actually move, or only the early versions of them moved, and they eventually made a version where it just moved the people inside of it, which I guess that makes some sense. What are we gonna find over here? This is a totally new area. Dull machete on thick roots. I couldn't cut a paper with this thing. I need something sharper to cut through these roots. Darn it. Well, we've got that rock, so I imagine we could sharpen the rusty machete on the rock. One thing about time travel that you might consider is, hasn't he already solved the problem? Or is there some opportunity for the world still to be ended? And if he in the future does solve the problem, then wouldn't he, at the second he does do that, disappear or spend the rest of his life in this place and he'll just never know, I guess, maybe? But if the problem is solved and the outbreak never happens, he would never make it to this point. It becomes so paradoxical. It doesn't make sense. There we go. We look at that. The machete is much sharper now. The block really did the trick. There we go. Should I cut the power cord? I don't think so. Every item we've used up to this point has only had one use. It was kind of ridiculous that they said the revolver exploded after the first shot, but since everything else breaks, it actually, come to think of it, that is some ridiculousness of point and click adventure games. Is like, after you use the item, you always lose it, and there's no good explanation why. Shoot, the machete broke. I guess it was rustier than I thought. Oh well, at least I cleared myself a way through. Yeah, I think point and click adventure people need to get really far away from that, have better excuses or better reasons for things, or just hold on to the items. If we had done this whole game and we had held on to every item after we used it, then that would have added a lot of confusion, and then we could have potentially had some items from the first act that were useful in the 10th act and added a little bit more gameplay to this. Usually in point and click adventure games, they just, after you use it, people will say, I don't need it anymore, and refuse to pick it up or drop it on the ground. Here's Frank. As suspected, let's talk to Frank. Let's look at the bonfire. There's nothing else here. Is this going to turn into a fight? I don't see why. The humidity in the air and the heat from the fire is making everything a little heavy in here. It's bright and warm. Alright, 2 responses. Let's go talk to Frank.
Frank? Joe. Oh. Please. Need water.
What are you?
Please.
I'll get you some water. Hang in there.
So I get him water, he drinks the water, and then he's infected. So how do I stop the water from being infected? Can I boil it? Probably not. Can I do anything? It can't give you water, Frank. If you drink anything here, well, I mean, I guess it doesn't matter. At this rate, I have to kill him and kill myself. It's the only guaranteed way of success. Not to be cruel or dramatic, it really is the only solution. He's gotta die, I've gotta die. Nothing more to it. Cup of water on the generator. I need the generator to see, so I better not try it. Let's go in here. And there's the portable time machine. There's the other time machine that's powered now. So like I give him water, what's to stop him from knocking me down and running to the time machine? That's what I suspect is going to happen. I see no other way to purify, and it seems like even the people in the hazmat suits uh, were getting infected and dying, so it's not even a matter of boiling the water. This virus or disease, whatever it is probably too resilient to be affected by those things. Use cup of water with bonfire.
No.
That would just be cruel. Give a cup of water to him.
Here you go, Frank.
Now, info dump time.
Oh, thank you.
Why would you want to fast
I don't
forward this?
understand. What are you doing here? Where are we?
I'm not sure. I had no time. I pushed it as far as it'd go. From what I've been reading, everything gets imprecise the farther you travel. Even your physical location can get messed up. Nobody's been this far. We could be hundreds, maybe thousands of years in the future for all I know.
I don't get it. So, you're a time pilot now?
Do I really need to spell it out for you, Joe? I stole it.
What? You stole the time machine, but why?
Look, I've got no reason to tell you, but I guess it doesn't matter. You're the last person I'll be sharing anything with anyway. The truth is, I'm a Soviet agent.
Ah,
Cut it out, Frank. I'm
communism
not following that one again.
wasn't a red herring.
Frank, you're just sick, confused. Come on, you can't be. Where's your Russian accent?
Joe, I'm an undercover agent deployed by the Kremlin. My job is to fit in. How far do you think I'd get if I went around calling everyone comrade? My real name is Yuri Barishev. I came to America in my early 20s. I went to school here, worked here, spent nearly 10 years building the foundation of an ordinary life. But the truth is that my life is far from ordinary.
Weird twist.
I was planted by the Soviet Foreign Intelligence Agency.
I really couldn't care about this twist at all.
My research programs. I started getting my first missions in the mid-60s. At the time, I thought I had built a promising portfolio of leads, but as I started to pursue them, most of them turned out to be worthless. By 1968, I had run out of goodwill with my handlers at the Kremlin. I was a disgrace, headed for extraction. Desperate for something, anything to report, I came across a Canadian company moving large shipments of iridium, osmium, rare metals not typically used in mainstream manufacturing. The buyer turned out to be a government shell, rerouting the materials to unofficial contractors, one of which turned out to be Archon. Having convinced my superiors that I was onto something, I got a job as a janitor. But I didn't dig up much until you showed up. You were a great distraction, giving me plenty of chances to access off-limits areas. And for a while, I was able to scrounge together enough intel to keep the Kremlin happy. My hunch was correct, but I didn't have the full picture. Not yet. The metals were being used to build something unusual, all right. But I just couldn't piece it together. What I found made no sense. Time travel, doomsday scenarios. I've read like bad science fiction. For a while, I thought they were on to me, feeding me bogus information. But as time went on, with security tightening around the labs and no one confronting me, I began to suspect that my intel was legit. But time was running out. Brezhnev and your President Nixon set to negotiate the nuclear disarmament treaty in a few weeks. My superiors were demanding results. My job on the line, I got desperate and careless. And this morning, I got caught.
And they didn't kill him. I kept thinking they did kill him.
I was tailing an engineer into an off-limits lab when I bumped into Barney from security. Ironically, management chalked up my trespassing to cluelessness and settled for just firing me. Knowing I wouldn't get another chance, I stole a security badge and snuck back in. I just found the time machine operator's manual when you showed up out of nowhere and nearly screwed it all up. Then it clicked. Not only could I steal the technology, it was the perfect getaway, too. Using the manual, I set the destination as high as it would allow. I figured if I could just get far away, I'd have plenty of time to figure out how to get it back to the motherland. But, well, I guess you know the rest.
So he didn't get very far?
Listen, Joe. I'm really sick, and I'm not making it back. But you still can.
No, I can't.
The time machine has a timer, like a toaster. It's designed to return home unless the timer's reset, and removed the main power supply fuse to keep it from taking off without me. Here, take it. I have no idea how you got here, and I guess it doesn't matter. Still, despite my mission, double life, and the deceit, your friendship was always genuine. You're an honest guy, Joe. And I've really enjoyed your company. And now, please, leave me. The pain's coming back. Oh, it hurts to talk.
Notice in the flashback he wasn't carrying papers, yet here were papers that he stole. They didn't bother animating that. Well, the right thing to do is take this fuse and throw it in the fire. Sometimes I don't think you want what's best for me, brain. This is my only ticket out of here, and you want me to throw it in the fire. Yes, I do. The needs of the one are outweighed by the needs of the many. You're going to kill all of humanity by going back. You're infected. You're clearly infected, but average Joe here from the 1960s probably doesn't even know what a germ is. And, well, he probably does, but it's so ridiculous. The game's going to force me to do it. I'm going to kill all of humanity because the game forces me to. He's coughing, you see? They've even scheduled it and programmed it at certain spots. Not a lot of light here, but I guess it doesn't need to be much to run. Yeah, solar panel charges up the generator. There seems to be running now. I wonder what it's powering. Another time machine. Is there anything I can click on? Anything I can do to stop this travesty? To stop this thing from happening? Any decision? Anything that gets the thought into his head? The block of concrete, the surface slightly touches. Rough to touch. Someone use a whole first aid kit. I think seeing dead people will be used to it now. Cryotubes. None of the other time pilots have made it back, I think. But then that doesn't explain the two people in the cryotubes that were there before. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. It's cold. It's humming. Person stuck in the wall. This is without doubt the most horrifying thing I've ever seen. Not very bright, but at least I can see what I'm doing. So portable time machine with the fuse wouldn't work.
No.
Fuse with the portable time machine. It goes in the big machine. Console. Terminal. I've got no choice. I can't just sit here forever. Unless the game really has some secret ending. Or if I just sat and stopped doing anything for like 5 minutes or so, that he would just die. But I seriously doubt it. They want to tell the story they want to tell. I know where this is going, so let's use the fuse on the time machine. And so the fuse, I just hope this works. I hope it doesn't. If you stop the outbreak, Joe, by the way, another version of you would still be alive and never have done any of this. So it's powered. Let's walk out the door. Let's see. So I don't see anything changing here. If anything was going to happen, it would have happened right when I walked out the door. We got to use the time machine. Here we go. Oh, what happened? Did I just pass out again? Well, the time machine. What happened to it? It's on fire. And here's a fragile wall. Here's a broken frame. And here's a dead guard. Quarantine lockdown initiated. Foreign organization detected. Keys. Foreign organism detected. So, yep, I've infected the foreign organism. What's going on? What cough? What is happening right now? I don't understand. What foreign organism? So, it's one of the security guards. The blast must have killed. Must have been posted after I take off. I need to get out. So I assume they took the body of the other guy. So can I sit here and now die? Just of smoke inhalation? The door's locked. How do I get out? God, what's happening? I can't feel my whole body getting stiff. It only opens from the outside. So we've got to use this frame on this fragile wall. Is that the crack in the wall Doctor Who reference from several seasons ago? Crack in the universe? Well, we're through. I don't know what they'll do. I don't think they're important. So let's look out the window. It's safety glass, there's no way I'm getting through that. Foreign organism detected.
No, it can't be. The foreign organism. It's me. I brought back the disease.
Yep.
I'm the one who spreads it. It was me all along. I must have brought it back with me. Oh God, I think I'm gonna throw up. I can't deal with this. What do I do?
Well, we could try the empty cryo chamber. can't get the door opener. Terminal is having something to do with the terminal. It controls the tubes, but I don't know how it works. Let's go this way. This door seems to be open. Here's the open file drawer. The apple, well, I planted the apple, not much use now. Let's go to this door. It's locked. Does this work with the door? It only takes key cards. File cabinet. Empty file folders, nothing I can use. What's happening? My hands feel like they're burning. I don't think there is anything to find here. I think this is just a... My fingers are stiffening up. I just think this is straight up just a tease. Can I open this? It's just an infected guy with creepy eyes. Let's see, key with cryo chamber console. I'm wasting my time, there's no keyhole here. Key with this. No keyhole. Card reader. Dials. I don't have the card, I'm stuck here. Locked, the whole lab is under lockdown. Key. Door. Safety glass, there's no way through it. It controls the tubes, but I don't know how it works. System error. We could go back to the hole in the wall. Can we use the broken time machine? Holy moly, halfway inside the wall. I'm pretty lucky to be still alive. Security guard. So obviously there's something I'm supposed to do. I don't think I'm just... If it was supposed to be this desperate act and that's how the whole story was just going to end. Do I have to use the small key with the guy in the eyes? Key doesn't work here. Good. Wouldn't be the first point and click adventure game or game in general, I guess, where I've had to carve somebody's eyeball out for an eyeball reader. This one's locked, right? Maybe there's something in there. Maybe these are locked. It's locked. Okay, this on this. It fits. Oh, what's happening to me? Just turning the key makes my muscles hurt. I can feel my arms and legs starting to go stiff. What's in here? Lazarus crowd control operator's guide, 11th draft. May be able to use this. Now I've got to get away before security shows up and I start infecting everyone. Use this on this. Need a grip of all this. A virus kills mankind. Dr. Lambert finds me, but I get infected and spread it to kill my grandson. Dr. Lambert finds me. Disengaging compression lock. Open indoors. Is he gonna talk some more? The dialogue needed. It all needed to be voiced. This is an incomplete voice work. Get in there, fool. But will it hermetically seal itself? There's some 60s, 70s lingo calling him a fool. But yeah, will it automatically seal? Input successful. Looks like that worked, but we never saw ourselves frozen in this. am I? My head. What are these clothes? So we see a rose, we see this, we see monitoring equipment, we see what appears to be some blue liquid and some red liquid, one of those probably blood. It's a piece of paper with some squiggly lines on it, a box of pins. Ow, my man, my joints are sore. Door is locked. It says IKEA next to the handle. This door? There's no handle. The string? That's just like in a hospital. Wait a minute. What do you mean just like in a hospital? What hospital? Is this what they did in the 60s? A string to open the door? Is that some thought of being less germ spreading than handles? It isn't. IKEA sounds Japanese. At least I'm still on Earth. So, it seems like I'm waking up in the modern time if IKEA is around. And some of this equipment does look like modern time. Let's go through the door. Same keypad doors and such. What is this place? Last thing I remember. Oh man, I shouldn't click on anything if he's going to start talking. How was I supposed to know he was going to start talking? Alright, moving on. I think I need to use the keypad. Here goes 00001. Nope. You didn't start with 000. Let's look at this door. It's not locked. Let's look at this door. It's not locked. Door number 1, door number 2, door number 3. That'd be really silly if that was the end of the game. It's like, whichever door you pick, that's your choice. And you get a different ending. A terminal of some kind, but it's nothing like I've ever seen. Yeah, it looks like a modern computer. How long has he been in cryogenic frozen? Look at those floors, too. Nice linoleum. Or wood. Okay, this guy's in a padded cell with a camera. So maybe I'm crazy. It would explain a lot. Agitated man with a crutch and a TV.
Whoa there, man. No offense intended.
Can I get the crutch? Easy, I don't want any trouble. Man, that TV is really loud, but I can't reach it. I bet that crutch is for something, but I'm not getting it. When he's this way out of it. Are they driving that guy crazy with the TV? Looks like somebody's playing solitaire on the computer too. And see, this is just another guy. And it's like the all-seeing eye and Atmos or Atmo. I don't know. It's all kinds of crazy conspiracy stuff. Picture frame. Let's look at this.
Damn.
Whoops. Really thought this was better fastened. Let's pick up that picture frame. From the looks of this room, it seems kind of pointless to try and put it up again. So, what was the point of that? We have the circle here. Let's go talk to the jittery man. Maybe we could trace the piece of paper on that. Nope. Jittery man.
No way to escape it. No way out. No way out. No way out. Sorry. What?
End of days. Scourge and sickness. The cleansing of the earth. The overlords conspired against us. Tricked us. made us bring the poison back into the nest, like good little ants.
Hmm.
Who did?
Too late. What's done is done. No backsies, but we must try. Do you hear me?
So, were
Sure.
these the two people in the cryo thing
Key to salvation.
with me?
I've seen it, felt its color, know its shape. They don't know that I know. Oh no, but I know. I know.
I'm glad you know.
Write it, write it, write it! Before it disappears. Write it down before it disappears. Took away my tools. I'll forget without my tools.
Your tools?
Pens, paper. They're erasing the slate, forcing me to forget. Trying to break my resolve. The persistence of memory. I must repeat, repeat, repeat. All the time, repeat. Oh, they fear me. Cower at the sight of scientific rigor. They know I'm close, so they take away my tools. I'll show them. The blinding light of the scientific method casts no shadows.
Okay. Cozy chair. There's some sort of gizmo stuck underneath the cushion. It kind of reminds me of those fancy Zenith Space Command TV remote controls. Only the ones that actually look like they're actually from space. So remote to the TV. Nothing but lint crumbs. Lamp. There's a desk lamp, but it's on the floor. Clearly this guy's not all there. So I'm kind of wondering if these are the two people that were frozen with me. And I am kind of wondering if this is all just some crazy turn of events. Alright, let's see. This to turn off the TV. I mean, it's pretty straightforward when you know what a remote control is on the TV, what you're gonna do. Let's see if this, hey, it worked. Hey, whoa, hey guy, where are you going? Well, at least that took care of the noise. I got the crutch. Looks like the TV is nothing like I've ever seen. Hmm. Shirtless man, let's go talk to him. The terminal is some kind, but nothing like I've ever seen. Talk to Shirtless man. He's a lot calmer now, but he still doesn't look like he's too fond of company. I better leave him alone. Hmm. How come my door is fancier than the others? Whatever. Doesn't matter. Use the crutch on the pins. Oh, I think I got most of the pins ended up at the top of the closet. IKEA next to the handle. Door's locked. Why would the door be locked? Here's a pin on the ground. Good. I was like, how? For a second there, I thought they were still all up there. And that would have made very little sense to actually take an action, change the way it appears, and still not actually be able to get a pin. There's no going back in time, though. There's just no fixing that. What we have to ask ourselves now is the future that we're in. Our future, or some future where they released the virus and killed a bunch of people and changed events? Or was it all a dream?
Paper to reproduce the key. Need the paper. Gotta have paper.
Alright, we gave him paper. Let's give him pen.
Mightier than the sword. The pen, the pen, the pen.
Let's talk to the jittery man.
The key. Keep it close. Keep it safe. Bring help. Don't get caught. get the girl. Save the kingdom, get the girl.
Nah, that's just like straight up Mario Brothers at that point. Well, we've got the combination. Let's use the note with the keypad. See if it opens the door. It works. I guess the crazy guy wasn't so crazy after all. Let's go. Ah, a poster of Dwight D. Eisenhower?
Miss, nurse,
Oh, hi there. Goodness, you startled me. You could have just knocked. And it's Doctor, actually, Dr. Emma Brown. I'm a little embarrassed to say, but we don't have any files on you, so I don't even know your name.
Emma Brown, like Doc
it's
Brown from
Joe,
Back to the
ma'am.
Future?
Oh, call me Emma. We're not so formal here. It's nice to meet you, Joe.
I'm sorry, Dr. Brown. I don't know how to say this, but everyone here is in serious danger. I'm very sick, and it's very important you call the authorities and...
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Take it easy. Deep breaths. There's nothing to be afraid of. How do you feel?
Okay, I guess. A little sore.
See, you're fine. And the soreness is to be expected. You've undergone muscle therapy. You've been asleep for at least 3 decades, after all. Maybe even more.
What? Where am I? What year is this?
Easy, Joe. I know it's a lot to take in. It'd be a shock to anyone's system. Haven't been under for as long as you have. It's 2012, and this is the psychiatric ward at St. Genevieve's Hospital. You were brought out of hibernation 5 weeks ago. Like the others, you were placed in an artificial coma for regenerative muscle therapy and brought here for evaluation and rehab after everything checked out.
Oh, God. The tubes. You have to listen to me, Doctor. I'm dangerously sick. I was carrying something when I got in.
Oh, that? Well, that's true. You did all have some kind of flu. Actually, the resident physician did find it peculiar how you had all contracted a type of avian flu that only first appeared in the late 90s, and a new strain at that.
It was a flu.
In any case, the pathogen was largely dormant due to the extended hibernation. We run very thorough medical checks on all our cryo clients, so we gave you all a shot of our regular cocktail. Cleared it right
Easily
up, so you
solved.
came too.
So it's gone? But Archon...
Yes, I'm afraid I don't know much about all of that. All I know is that the company that froze you went bankrupt back in the early 70s. A victim of industrial sabotage, I think. Anywho, the remaining assets were sold off, and the Cryoform company bought the cryogenics technology. As per ethical requirements, that included all of you who were frozen there. We've been helping rehabilitate Cryoform's clients for the past 5 years or so. Mostly folks suffering from previously incurable terminal illnesses and heavy wallets. But you didn't hear that from me, Unfortunately, cryogenics was a little experimental when you went under. So, while the company's been freezing and reviving clients for quite some time, you had to stay confined to the original equipment. Apparently, a lot of Archon's original documentation was destroyed in a fire. So Cryoform had practically no information on any of you. That's another reason it took so long to figure out how to revive you. Sadly, the others haven't been quite as coherent. They share certain delusions, end of the world, that sort of thing. An unfortunate side effect of cryogenics' primitive state at the time, I suspect. You, however, seem just fine. Apart from the shock, I mean.
So I'm not sick? You sure?
Yes, Joe, quite sure. In fact, I see no reason to keep you here. We have an excellent rehabilitation team who'll get you settled into your new life in no time. Just come see me when you're ready to go.
Interesting. So, look at the poster. I'm not sure who is that actually, Colonel Sanders. Cabinet. Probably shouldn't try to open that. Table. A few ink spatters on paper. Looks like somebody had an accident with a leaky pen. Computer? How does he know what a computer is? One of those weird flat terminal screens again. Terminals and computers are slightly different. So, I think there's nothing else really to do here. Let's go talk to these people and say we saved the world. And be like, we did it. We're fine. Can't talk to him. Let's talk to the jittery man, see if we can get him to calm down.
They gave us the fire of the gods, then watched us burn.
Maybe I should believe this guy, though.
Painful. We're nothing to them. Don't trust them. You hear? Never forget, never forget, never forget. Keep it in mind. Useless without my tools.
So I guess I don't have anything I can say to him.
Hypothesize, test, observe, interpret. Hypothesize, test, observe, interpret. Hypothesize, test, observe, interpret. They gave us the fire of the gods.
There you go, we'll skip that.
Never forget,
Skip. Wow, you have to skip each one. That's a really useless skip button. So I tried to calm them down, tried to say everything's fine now. Let's see. Before I talk to her, let's walk out the door. That may very well trigger talking to her. Doc Brown told me to come talk to her before leaving. Okay, so here we go. Talk to her.
So, are we all ready to go?
Yeah.
I guess.
Oh, don't worry. The rehab team's eager to help get you settled in. I know it may feel a little overwhelming now, but trust me, you'll love it in 2012. Endless opportunities. A whole new lease on life.
Yeah, talking from
Speaking of,
2016.
I happened to catch you on a surveillance monitor
Eh.
a little while ago, and you seem to show excellent problem-solving skills. You like puzzles, Joe?
Not particularly.
Perfect. I'll be sure to mention it to the career coaches. They'll find just the right thing for you.
He's gonna end up as a janitor again. I know it. That almost feels like that should be a different response if you played differently. And this is far from the silent age. This is more the technology age in 2012. Although it may very well be the silent age. He's going through a museum of his own time. Silent age in the sense that people don't talk to each other anymore. Yeah, he's working at a call center. That's even worse. Even worse. Working at a call center, you have to deal with people's poop all the time, 8 hours a day. Working as a janitor, you only have to deal with it about half the time, because you get to clean out trash cans, and very rarely do people poop in trash cans. The end, ... 3 extra scenes there, just showing him he moved on with his life. And I guess he didn't infect anybody with the avian flu. No twist there. No, didn't think. I thought there might have been a twist there, but no. This is made by House on Fire Games. I will say that's a terrible name for a game company. You're not gonna sell stock options of a company called House on Fire. It just doesn't sound good. It's like one programmer, one person in charge of writing. Well, I can much more firmly say I did not like that the dialogue was only voiced for the 6, 7, 8 conversations in the game, and then the massive amount of times when we clicked on other things, we just got text on the screen. I can clearly say I did not like the text on the screen being at the top of the screen and not staying up long enough for me to read it. I missed a lot of story there, at least a lot of dialogue or internal monologue. Uh, I can clearly say that these levels were way too easy. It doesn't feel like the game was too short, per se. It's just there was no red herrings at all. In fact, this is such the opposite of no red herrings. Communism actually took a part in this story when it was just set in the Red Scare era, which is just so silly. Uh, I saw what was going on as far as me being the infection vector really, really early in the game. Uh, that was not hidden very well. I think there was kind of a dyslexia vibe that they could have gone with because uh, because of the eye chart, but I'm hanging so much on him misreading the eye chart that obviously that didn't get played off. Uh, it's just it's so weird. This is a pretty modern game. This only came out a couple years ago. Look, it's copyrighted 2011 to 2016. Uh, it's so strange that such a modern game failed to learn from previous point-and-click adventure games. It just really did. Uh, there's no challenge here. This is like baby's first point-and-click adventure game. Now we've also got some red herrings. Like, if we went back to the very beginning, we never knew what the tinfoil hat was about. Here we can see the eye chart, like right here, that he misread. That made me think he was dyslexic. I still think he's dyslexic. There was one point when they said it was, uh, well, it's like maybe that does say May right there, May 17th. Monday, May 17th. Okay, I misread it. I thought this was 017. Okay. So this happened in May. That doesn't really matter. Though, that didn't play off and do anything. We really didn't do anything. Where's the first act where we actually started to feel like we were playing a game and not just going on a shopping trip, really? Just walking from point A to point B. Uh, at the end of the house, at the end of Act 7, all of this is really just super simple puzzles in really weirdly laid out city designs where a hospital is 2 blocks away from a police station that has a hotel right behind it, and Arkan has a nightclub right connected to it. I mean, it's just like these levels were designed by somebody who's never ever seen a city design before. It's not. It is a little bit more animation to put streets and intersections and sidewalks and stuff, and actually have to go from one building to another building. But that's the real world, and this felt so much not like the real world, which also brought into my thought that this was all a dream. They didn't play that up. They didn't play any twist it up at all. It's you assume that everything that happened exactly as we saw it. You kind of have to. Moebius trip instead of Moebius strip uh, uh, was a pretty long one, but a lot of these were really, really short. There was a couple that were 18 minutes long. Credits, of course. No, you can't just start the credits and see it again. So there's 2 credits here. Doesn't feel like there's any collectibles. It doesn't feel like there's any extra stuff. I'll probably go look at all the achievements on this and have them all, and then I'll look at the descriptions and see, yeah, every single action to get them all had to be done to beat the game. Why make a game so simple? It's like push Well, I don't want to exaggerate. It's just such a simple point-and-click adventure game. So simple. I've played some incredibly difficult and obscure ones. That's kind of the fun of them sometimes, is that you get a little lost. You don't just breeze through it. Uh, I've never wanted a simple point-and-click adventure. There are some kid-based ones like that. Humongous was a company, may still be a company that had like Freddy Fish and uh, there was a bear one that were point-and-click adventure games for little kids, and they were way more complicated than this. Uh, and this is too adult of a story to think it's a kid's game. So I don't know who it's appreciating. This game did give me the idea of I'd like to see a point-and-click adventure game where somebody actually is mentally, uh, educationally deficient, and mentally deficient, and somebody that would be like wheelchair bound or somebody with some other severe handicap. And I would say go with 3 of them. That way we can play as different characters. We never played as a different character in this game, which is a little weird for point-and-click adventures. Almost always there's some point where you have to switch over to a different character. Uh, Most of the time, at least. But like, if somebody was in a wheelchair and they were doing some of the things in the first 7 acts, that would be interesting. And how you would have to figure out different ways just to do simple things. But since they never really addressed this on Joe, and I've just implanted that thought in here that he feels like he's not as smart as everybody else, and everybody else seems to in the game treat him that way too, but they don't address it at all. And I think they should have addressed it. I think they should have focused on it, because that would have been a slightly better story than what we get. This very basic time travel story. This is straight out of a H.G. Wells tale. I believe it's H.G. Wells, or maybe some other author, but I know this story. It's you go back in time, you get a disease, and you bring it to the future, or you go to the future, get a disease, you bring it back to the past. There's literally no new spin on this. Nothing at all. It's been done. Anybody who has watched Twilight Zone or heard Twilight Zone stories told to them or seen Twilight Zone stories redone in lesser series, anybody who knows anything, even the basics of a sci-fi understanding, knows this tale. And there's nothing new done here. There's nothing new done here for point-and-click adventures. Why make this game? I don't know. I mean, be bold. I guess that's all I can leave it on. Is they needed to be bold, and they weren't bold. And so, if you're interested in a dull, very straightforward point-and-click adventure, if you've never played a point-and-click adventure before in your life, maybe you play this one. If you want a story about moving back and forth in time, the time mechanic isn't really that interesting in this either. It's not like we did crazy puzzles there. We grew an apple tree. That was the most we really did with the time mechanic. Every other time, it was, well, most of the other times we simply went to the future because a door was open in the future, walked through that door, went back to the past because a different door would be open in the past. It's just moving back and forth to maneuver yourself. Yeah, it's very unambitious. It's a little disappointing. There's nothing inherently wrong with this game. It's just mediocre. Well, I guess I don't have anything else to say, so that's it for the Silent Age. We'll move on to the next series and the next recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment if you want to, and watch every second of my videos. If you want to support me even further, you can click on my name Rydo on the right is a blue button that says support this channel. You can click that and make a donation. By clicking on my name, you get to my main YouTube page. There's a playlist tab there. You can see a playlist for every game I've ever covered. Plenty of other point-and-click adventures to check out. Plenty of other styles of games to check out. So I'm sure you'll find something that interests you. And finally, down in the description box, I have links to all the social medias like Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, Google+, and Steam, and Battle.net. So I ask everybody to follow and friend me on all of those. That helps me out, and it helps you out, because if you follow Twitter, you will then know exactly when my next video is ready for viewing. Thank you for watching this. Thank you for going through the series. Let me know how you thought in the comments. Am I totally off? Were my own wild spins on this about him being maybe dyslexic, or some other thought I had in this game coloring my opinion too darkly? I don't know. Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.